Thank you for listening to Scandinavian Crimes Podcast. Be sure to check out the episode links and be part of our other social media platforms where you can leave a topic suggestion or even share some of your insights regarding the subject matter of the episode. We will always do our best to provide a well-researched episode, but sometimes due to limited access to information and translation issues, some information can be lost. It is therefore good to do your own research and get a deeper understanding of a case of your own interest. So with that all said, let us start today's episode.
3, 2, 1.
Wait! I have this on.
Good job. Brilliant.
That's why I was like, why is it not so crisp as it usually is? Okay, I'm ready now.
I'm done.
Right.
Welcome to Scandinavian Crimes. My name is Devante, and say hello to my lovely co-host, Delila.
Hi.
And on this podcast, we talk about famous Scandinavian criminals who made their mark throughout Scandinavian history. So today is the finale. It's been an interesting roller coaster of things for this season. Yes. Ooh, my
You
throat.
sound so unbothered. I'm sorry. You're like,
I mean, I have to host, I have to be very professional, but
maybe we shouldn't be happy though. People might be like, no, because they want to listen.
I don't know. But I will put a round of applause because once again, this means we've done 2 seasons of the podcast. Now, I do want to start off with something off rip because, let me start with this actually. If you don't know, last season, we always do like a general recap of the season. So we kind of go over things we want to, do better, changes, or what to expect for the next season, or just little bits of information about us involving the podcast. So that way you get a little bit more context and all that jazz for the season that just passed and also for the season that will be upcoming as well. So that's kind of what we do at the end of every season. That's why the last episode isn't really a story or a case. It's just us kind of talking and reflecting back and, trying to give you guys some insight and pull the curtain back from behind the scenes. So with all that being said, I do want to start with one thing. I want people to understand, because last season I did mention, the butchering of names, and I say it all the time. I'm like, I'm going to butcher names. But this time it's something different, but kind of in the same category. People like, hey, like this information is wrong or it wasn't rumored or whatever like that. Usually it's not wrong that they say. They're just like, oh, like if we say like it's rumored information, people would be like, no, that happened for a fact, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, the thing is, and I really wanted to say this, and it's because, we was reading some of the comments on the other platform. When we say rumored, the thing is we're pulling information from multiple sources, right? So one source may say something happened, but then another source may say it didn't happen. Then a third source may say it's possible that it may have happened.
It could have happened.
Yeah, like there's...
Or be the reason it happened.
Exactly. So when you're comparing information and you get inconsistent pieces of information like that, for the sake of the podcast, we're not in good conscience able to say this is a fact because we haven't seen anything that's guaranteed that this absolutely happened based on the information that's available to us. So we'll say rumored, so that way if it did happen, we did mention it.
Or we added in the discussion that this was something that was said in multiple sources, but it wasn't really clear. So we usually like to add that, oh, it wasn't clear and it's a rumor. Like it's not really super.
Right. So it's just more or less to make sure that we aren't saying something happened, because when we say something absolutely happened, then it officially crosses the line of misinformation versus us presenting the information and letting you come to your own conclusions. There's a difference. Just wanted to get that out the way because I think some people, because that comment we saw, it was on like YouTube or something like that. Someone was like, oh, in the documentary. I'm like, well, documentaries aren't, you shouldn't rely solely on a documentary. Even though there's a ton of research that goes into documentaries, they're written with a bias because in order to make the documentary compelling, they have to have a story to tell and it has to be from someone's point of view. I would know because that is, a part of work that I do outside of this as well. So
I can also say that I've also watched some of the documentaries for the Swedish cases, because obviously I can't access them that is outside of Sweden, and some of them are biased, and I like to, if I have the time, watch the other documentaries that is also biased but on the other direction, so they go against each other basically, so they're not in the same interest. And I think it's good to do multiple sources in that way to get a better understanding of like the situation. And that's why we also like to say research by yourself as well,
right,
so that you can get a better understanding of the situation. And I also say on those episodes that I know have a lot of documentaries, like, hey, watch this documentary if you're interested in understanding for Johanna Möller, for example. I was like, hey, Johanna Möller, we had this documentary of Arboga woman, and have multiple actually documentaries about her through different platforms. And then there's another one that is basically on her side and speaking from her perspective and stuff like that. So, you know, there are different documentaries that are biased as well. So yeah, I just wanted to have that as well.
So maybe this is like something I just thought about on the spot. Maybe possibly if it makes it easier for people who are listening, maybe for each episode we can include the sources that we use. Just put it in the link or something like that, and you can click it, and if you want to read the sources that we're looking at, fine. And then obviously if you have more to add, which is perfectly okay as long as you're respectful and be like, hey, I found this and it's new information, we will do updates. We like doing updates.
We like doing updates. Fine. We've done that on another case last season. Yeah, because we recorded it when it was finalized. Like after we recorded it before the actual trial was finalized. Yeah, and when it was finalized, the episode was like already out. I think it was.
Yeah, it was already out like by a month, and then someone else said like, "Hey, this happened," and then they didn't realize that the episode was already recorded and released while that was going on, so there was no way we could have known that. But we did an update episode and we covered it and we talked about it and we rolled the punches. So that is something we do as well. So don't be afraid to like I said, if you see a source that you feel like might be good or related to a case that we've done, feel free to send it, because we do read messages and we will go over it if it's relevant. So but yeah, so just wanted to get that out there before we move on to everything else.
Regarding the researching and stuff like that, after we talked about it and we trying to make better quality episodes, we decided that I'm gonna do the writing of the episodes and the script basically, and also the researching, because I live in Sweden, which is the closest to the other countries, so I have better access than Devante, who does not live even in Europe. So it's easier for me to basically get access of some things, and I also could understand some of the languages if I would like not translate it, but you know, it's easier for me to translate it obviously. But in that case, we might get a better quality episodes that are more, you know, better researched, I guess, because I have accessibilities that Devante doesn't, and he doesn't understand the languages like I could do. But that in that way, Devante is going to do more of the editing and the reading as well, which is a lot of work. So it's more divided equally now, and we feel like that could work with a healthy work environment as well. So, yeah.
That's why the audio is always so crispy. So think of it, for a podcast for this size, you're getting professional sounding audio, crispy audio. So crispy. All the mixing and mastering, delicious. So, especially after hearing this, I need you to go on whatever platform and please give us
and
a good
also
review.
The added sound effects. That's something new we didn't do last season as well. So
yeah,
that's something that has been added. We don't know if you guys like it or not, but I think it's a little bit more interesting and keeps you listening. But I think we also thought about like, should we add it on the abusive parts, like scream and stuff? Because that might be very gruesome.
Yeah, it's tough. I think
so. We don't want to make it too gruesome, but we want to make it more interactive, I guess, so you have a better like visualization of what's happening when we try to write and everything.
I think just for the next season, I'm going to continue doing that, and also I think we should try and get as much information about the day that the crimes happen, so we can do them consistently.
It's a snowy day, or the cold winter night, or something like that.
Yeah,
I'm trying to be a better writer. I'm sorry.
And then while we do that, then I feel like we're going to change the intro, because every season we've had a different intro. So you notice the first season, the intro was a little different. You know, that little part of the podcast where it's like, thank you for listening to Scandinavian podcast, whatever. So I think we're gonna make a new one where basically it'll say the things that are said for this season, cover some of the things that we're going to talk about today, and then also warn people that the episode might have sound effects that may cause them to react in a certain kind of way.
Yeah, the trigger. Yeah,
so kind of give them a trigger warning, basically. Yeah. And then
I think that's a good idea.
And then cover our bases, you know, so that way, you know, within the first 15, 30 seconds you're getting into, you know what to expect. And then also, so at this point, if you say anything regarding, you know, the sound effects, or maybe I butchered a name by accident because I don't speak the language and certain sounds don't exist in the English language, or anything along those lines, we warned you beforehand, and we're doing things accordingly, and it'll include everything. So, you know, but just let them know if you like the sound effects, because I think it does add a little extra oomph, especially some cases that were very descriptive. Like, I feel like it adds definitely
when there were a lot of information about it.
Yeah. Like how, I forgot which case it was where the guy was extra abusive to a single mom and the child. And then they was talking about like how he was walking in the house, and then I was able to put the footsteps, and then hearing the final product, it was just
it was
oh, this
Kajal.
is really nice.
It was Kajal.
Was it Kajal?
Sorry. It was Kjell. I was not laughing about the actual thing. I was laughing about the naming. It was Kjell. So Kjell-Åke. Yeah. So
yeah, that was a good one with the.
There was a lot of information because I think I watched a documentary, so I had a better understanding of like all the details that was necessary. But some cases I don't have that, so I just kind of imagine that it's cold during the winter or something like that. But some cases have very descriptive, like this happened and that happened, and you know, the witnesses explain what they heard or saw or whatever, so we can add stuff like that as well. But you know, regarding the style of writing the script, we also trying to make it more storytelling wise, obviously, because it's easier than last season. We made it more like a report. I felt like it was more like a report, like we were just stating facts and then discussion. And I think it's a more interesting and involving by adding sound effects and also making it more like a storytelling style, than just like a report, this happened. But I'm not a writer, everybody, okay? And on top of this, I'm dyslexic, so don't expect anything that's gonna be like above and beyond writing wise, but I'm trying to be better. I want to make good quality content, and Devante as well. But please, I'm trying. I'm trying my best.
So you know, cut us some slack. We're human, all right? Jesus Christ.
I'm just a human. I'm sorry. I mean, I wish I could be AI, but I can't. So.
But I mean, like I said, I think the stories and everything turned out fine for like in terms of what we are able to, what we're able to do, and just unfortunately with the information we have. So, like I said, it's easier when there's more people, and especially with the audience. Let's say if you give us more details and stuff, it does help us. So this is a, not community project, I would say, but this is an inclusive thing. So that does help us as well. But I hope you guys enjoyed the sound effects and the storytelling aspects. You know, I hope it's at least enjoyable compared to the first season. You know, I hope so. Please let us know.
Yeah, I mean, we also have made most of the cases very like more modern cases. So those that is like between 2000s or like 1990s or 1980s. I guess that's recent for me, but they kind of spanned out through 2 decades sometimes. So they're very recent in that case, in that aspect. But with the first season, we kind of did a lot of old cases that was like way back in the days where you barely had any evidence. And if you guys like those episodes, we can make like mini episodes like that, or at like kind of like smaller episodes of that. But that's only if you guys are interested in those type of content. And they are interesting as well, you know, like back in the days, because there were no way to investigate in the way we're doing it now and research in the way we're doing it now. Like the criminals were very creative and also had a lot of freedom, which you know, most of the criminals don't have today.
Yeah, because of technology and all these cameras, everyone has a camera on them now. So that's why I feel like also too.
Maybe that's why you don't think it's fun and interesting to do the older ones.
No, it's just it's weird to say, because the older ones are, like you said, like the most interesting cases in the aspect. They had the most freedom, so that's why those
they did
are popular
whatever and got away with it.
Yeah, that's why in most documentaries about crime, it's always about like the 50s, 60s, 70s, because that was before technology really took off. So serial killers were running rampant and pretty much racking up numbers, while nowadays it's not impossible, but it's hard to do that for a long period of time. You cannot get away with it without someone seeing your face, knowing where you are. Technology, it's like, you know, it's hard. So I don't know, like I like doing the old cases. I just think it gets repetitive because a lot of the time, unfortunately, the killers were doing the same things because of that freedom. You know, it's like that thing. Well, what's that saying? Where basically, like, people don't have imagination because they have everything that they want. Only kids who don't have enough have more imagination. It's like one of those situations.
Yeah.
So serial killers were less creative, if you actively think about it, versus how serial killers would have to be creative now because it's so restricted. So that's kind of like my perspective on it. But it's like, you know, I don't mind either. I don't
mind them. Like I like them. I think it's interesting. You know, it's a very different age and like the way they did things and how I mean, they weren't like. It's like because they didn't have the technology, it was very obvious who it could have been. But I think it's interesting to understand that aspect as well and like discussing that. I don't know. It might be me. I don't know. I think most cases are very interesting, and I think they're all worth learning and understanding. And history, obviously, is important to learn from because it repeats itself, obviously. And when you have more technology, it's not going to repeat itself as often.
Yeah, and also it's fun to read how dumb cops were back in the day as well.
Okay, they didn't have any research. Like, calm down, sir.
That's not an excuse, because we've also ran into cases where cops
we have Sherlock Holmes. Okay, sorry.
We've ran into cops. I said ran into cops like as if we saw them in person. But in stories, we've read about cops who actually did their job and investigated. And they actually got the person. I appreciate
Norway. Norway have done so far pretty consistently. But there've been some cases that was like questionable, obviously. But like, yeah, I feel like Norway, when they investigate, they go all out. Swedish too. But it's like 50-50 with Sweden, honestly. It depends on which age.
And race.
Denmark, I feel like it's all dependable, but I think Norway have been mostly consistent with like doing a thorough investigation. But it might be me. I don't know. Maybe we just had those specific cases of Norway where they did do a good job.
Probably. I'm pretty sure there's somebody out there who's like, no, they do a horrible job.
No,
and I'm like,
wrong.
Probably.
They do a horrible job. And I'm like, sorry, I'm biased then. I don't know.
Yeah, so
I only have one small fraction of the cases that is available. Yeah. Another thing I wanted to add, actually, that is an improvement. Whoa.
I don't know what that was, but
it's funny because I'm going to talk about how confident and secure I am to make proper sentences, and
you see how the universe just aligned to mess you up. Like, I feel
I feel more confident than last season. Obviously, I'm growing as part of the podcast, even though sometimes when I make sentences, I'm buffering. And I feel like there's improvement still, but I feel the confidence and security that I have in myself is better than last season. I know that you felt pretty chill now and then. You're perfect. So that's you. There's nothing I can say about that. But I feel I'm being better. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but I want to be better. So I'm still growing as a speaker. As a dyslexic speaker, and I'm never gonna read again ever. That was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. I kept messing up, and you had to fix that in editing. But I hope you guys liked the mini episode. But I'm not gonna read again.
I have episodes where like days where I'm just not in it mentally because I have something else, and then I can make a lot of mistakes. Then I have days where I'm just like, I could almost read entirely through it and not make one mistake. So, everyone's human. We all have our days.
Yeah. I can understand why it's hard for you to read and you can mess up as well. Because when I read that mini episode, I understood how hard and difficult it is. And at least for the English words, I'm like, I can't speak sometimes, and I just buffer so much. But when it comes to Devante, for example, reading the Swedish names or the names and the places, they can be very difficult, especially Finland's words. Even I think it's very difficult because I'm not obviously Finnish. I know the sounds of how they do it, but it is quite difficult, and I understand that aspect, but I think it's so funny when you try to read it with an American accent, and I laugh, and I'm sorry, Devante, that I'm doing that, but, it's just so funny, because, like, after the Kjell incident, I started phonetically spelling how I think it will sound in English, and me being dyslexic does not help. So sometimes it works okay, and sometimes it just does not work at all. But we're working on the trying to pronounce the names as good and correctly as possible, because some letters does not even exist, some soundings does not even exist in American English, so I have to create a new one to phonetically spell. But I think it's being better, right?
Like Prud. And then,
you can add some little bloopers of the different incidents that we had about the namings, but we're trying to be better with that.
It is a very, very interesting case. One of the biggest or most extensively discussed cases in Norway, and that's the Trud Espos case. And we're going to tell the story of Kjell Ak Johannessen. The Tisdalen murders took place in Osvold, Norway, that was once a thriving sawmill industry community.
I guess the last part I think we wanted to talk about is how we have hyped up the live streams and the social media presence and stuff like that, and it's pretty much non-existent because we have lives outside of the podcast, and unfortunately we both work full-time, and unfortunately we don't have the time to do those things as well outside of work. So we're sorry for hyping up something that never happened. But we want to do that. We want to have more presence in the media and do live streams and stuff like that. But, we have to also try to balance that with work outside as well. So.
And then also think of it like this. The more you guys listen and download, the more you guys follow us, not just on social media, but on like whatever podcasting platform, the more you interact. I'm pretty sure y'all know how content creation goes. Like the more we're able to
the more
get
you guys are
involved, the easier it is for us to do this and focus on
more on it.
Because we all know we live in an age of bills, rent, so we can't do a podcast if we're homeless. So we're going to work. We're working, but we're still trying to give you guys episodes. But obviously, more
and be
support.
Better and quality wise and stuff like that.
So, more support just makes it easier for us to like focus on something. And I know I don't want to be one of those podcasts either that's like, oh yeah, Patreon, $15 a month, $20 a month. First of all, groceries are expensive right now. $15, $20. I'm like, even though in this day and age it's not a lot, it's still money that could be put towards food or something like that. So we understand that, and also we would like you guys to understand that applies to us too. We have to, pay our bills, feed ourselves, and be healthy enough to do this podcast for you guys. Now, like I said, more support we get, the easier this becomes, and we can focus on this. But as of right now, we're trying to accommodate as best as humanly possible.
And that's why we have also breaks, and if we get sick, we can magically make more time, and we're really, really trying. We're human as me and Devante, but we want to be as good as possible. We want to create good content, and but please be patient and
show some love,
understanding of us, and that we have another life outside of the podcast.
Yes, please show us love too. But
yes, love,
all love. And but we will, at least for next season, I think we can at least be a little more active on, let's just focus on one platform. Let's try and be more active on TikTok.
I think that's a good start.
Just focus on TikTok only,
and if we get like enough people there, we might be able to do some lives and stuff like that every now and then
on TikTok. We could join us, and we can have a good old time and
talk to you guys. You see how it's going with you. It's love. I love to interact, and we both love to interact with you guys. So
we can start there. A couple videos, maybe a week, 2-3 videos a week. Just talking about either some cases we've already covered, or just some instead of making full episodes out of everything online, some things we can just focus on TikTok that'll be like just for a minute or two, just something like that. We'll figure it out, but we'll just focus on that for next season, and get more involved with you guys, so that way we can be a little bit more intimate. But so you have anything else to say, Delila?
No, I am so glad that you're here and supporting us, and we appreciate you all. And thank you for this season, and the confetti and sparkles, and yay,
Insert confetti and round of applause now.
Woo! Yay!
I'm just telling my
editor
have
summer.
Self.
Whoa! Bye.
But yes,
good nights.
Enjoy your summer. Remember, I will say what I usually say when I want to end other episodes. Drink responsibly. Do not drink and drive. Be sure to be aware of your surroundings. Pay attention, especially ladies. Don't be wandering any places you shouldn't be. Don't be curious. If your gut feeling's telling you something, listen to it. You'd rather be safe than sorry. I'd rather you be, at home, alive, than second guessing in a scenario you don't want to be in. All right. And this applies to everybody. But like I said, just a little more emphasis on the ladies, because I think I want to talk about some interesting concepts next season as well, because fellas, we are also entering a very dangerous age as more things are coming out about, things that are happening to us as well. So that's going to be a little sprinkle for next season. But take care of yourselves, be healthy, take your vitamins, take a little extra vitamin D. I would encourage everyone to wear some sort of sunscreen, but especially my palm colored people. If you're going to be in areas where the sun,
like that?
I don't know, that's
Sorry.
just,
Sorry.
if you're going to be somewhere where the sun is intense, put a little sunscreen, protect that skin, helps, prevent you from aging. Also be sure to moisturize your skin every day, wash them legs. Let's all just be hygienic this summer. Just because it's hot doesn't mean you can't stink. Right?
Are you tired of the stanky people in the bus?
Yes, I'm tired of people smelling like a bag of nickels. All right, of wet nickels. So just please, let's use a washcloth. I know some
Why are you talking about this?
I'm sorry this all came to my mind because I'm tired of people not washing in the summertime. Use deodorant. Use antiperspirant deodorant. If you can't use antiperspirant deodorant like the ones that I roll on, then
what
maybe
if they smell naturally then, like a little bit funky? That's also
it sounds like you need to change your diet, because if you drink plenty of water and
what if they have a disease?
Well, undisease yourself. I'm joking, but just make an effort to just take care of yourselves. When it gets warm, you sweat. It amplifies any body odor. Fellas, please scrub them legs, scrub them crevices, get in between the cheeks, get all the way in there, under the arms. Scrub,
I think you've been traumatized, Devante.
Yes, I have. Scrub, exfoliate, please. And I hope you have a wonderful summer, and thank you for a lovely season 2, and we shall see you for season 3.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you all, the old and the new listeners, for joining in on our podcast. As always, we appreciate you so much, and I hope you all have a lovely summer.
Indeed. Wash that ass.
Yes. Bye, everybody.
Bye.